Okay, so before you begin, you're going to want to take up and take out the ductwork right here. There's two clips on the bottom of the air cleaner right here. So you can slide that up. This comes right out. Right here there's a tab, so you're going to want to disconnect the wire from the map airflow sensor. So slides up, and then you press it on this tab right here and it'll pull right out for you. Now we're going to disconnect the assembly right down here. So you're going to disconnect this tube right here. There's a green clasp on it, so there's a little tab right here you can press in and it should just pull right out. You can tuck it over here and out of your way. On the clamp down here, there's a flathead screwdriver you can loosen it with, or if you want to put a 5/16 socket on it, that's what I'm going to do, make it a little quicker. You can loosen up the band clamp. You should be able to slide this whole assembly right out of your way. And you can lift it right up and out.
It's very simple to pull the alternator off of this thing. So if you were going to change the alternator, you know, you would normally disconnect your battery cable, and then you would be taking the cables off here, and this is just a squeeze plug that pops off, and same thing with this one. But we're just moving this one back for access. So we're going to release the tensioner, and then we're going to take the belt off, and we're just going to unbolt the alternator, 3 13mm bolts, and we're going to move it to the side. So we're going to go ahead and release the tensioner. We got a 3/8 ratchet that fits down inside the tensioner here. And as we pull back on the ratchet, we can slip the belt out from underneath the idler pulley here. It's kind of tight here because of the harness for the fan, so we're going to take it off from the alternator and just let it sit down like that. Okay, now the wrench is swung back here. Now we got 3 13mm bolts. We're going to use the same ratchet to crack our 13s loose. Now, if we were changing the alternator, we would have the power disconnected. We're not going to be interfering with anything here. So we're going to leave it powered up. It's always a good practice to disconnect it. Okay, so we've removed the 3 bolts, and we're just going to sit the alternator off to the side here. And if you were going to do an alternator replacement, you just have these 3 plugs. You got a clip right here to get a little pick underneath and slide this gray clip out. You have a 10mm on here to take off for your battery cable, and you have a little pocket screwdriver that'll release this black clip and slide this out. And it's a very simple alternator to do.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to put the 3 alternator bolts back in. I threw some lever C's on them so that if we have to take them out in the future, we can do that. So I'm going to put these into place and we'll tighten them up. Make sure you catch these bolts by hand. You don't want to put them in here with like a socket and a wrench or anything like that. They're all the same length. Oh yeah. Yeah, don't forget to put this bracket on. Thanks for pointing that out, Steve. Sometimes you get a little ahead of yourself. Great, so we're gonna tighten this up.
All right, so he's got the alternator back on. Now we're gonna slip the belt back on, and Tony's gonna hold the camera and we'll get that belt back on. There's a square hole in the bracket down here for the tensioner, and you have to line the ratchet up to get it in there so that we can okay. And this thing was kind of tight to pull back, so push back. I'm going to put this on the alternator and try and get this on the tensioner first. It's easier. Roll it up onto the alternator. And now, before we let the tension go, we're going to shine the light down on the belt here. Make sure that we got everything is still on in place. It's on the compressor, nothing's moved. Now we let go, and when you start the vehicle up, you want to have someone start it and take a good look to make sure the belt is in the right groove and nothing's going to spring off on you. And we'll pull our ratchet out. All right, so Tony's putting the air cleaner back in right now. He's got the snorkel lining up over there. He's going to get the box put in place first, and then we're going to go back. He's got some brackets back here that he's got to line up to push them in. Okay, he's got those in. He's going to put his clamps on in the front here. Okay, now he's got his snorkel in place over here. That's all good. And he's going to put his clamps on. Before he does that, he's probably going to run this harness over in place and plug that back in, I would imagine, because it bolts underneath that. Push the red clip in. He's got the little white plug here he's going to push down. Okay, now he's going to plug in his duct, the tube there. All right, that all clipped in. The only thing he's got left to do is tighten that clamp up, and don't crank up too much on these. You just want to get a little tension on it. So that's it. And he never really took that one off, but he's checking it.
Yeah, it is a little loose.
Okay, so we got the belt back on in place. It's on the tensioner. Everything's good down there. The belt routing is all in place over here. So we're going to fire it up and see if it's running good. Running nice and smooth.
Thanks for watching the video. Hope you liked it. If you have any questions, leave a comment. I'll reply back to you. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching.